In this short video, we are going to explain and demonstrate some of the sacred geometry behind one of Scotland's most famous stone circles, the Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone Circle.
Situated in the Aberdeenshire landscape of northeast Scotland is the Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone Circle. It is located approximately 1.4 kilometres north of the River Don, about 5 kilometres west of the town of Inverurie. This is a restored circle and it retains its full complement of 2 flankers, recumbent and 9 circle stones. Like all other recumbent stone circles, this circle dates to around 2500 BC. Dr. Hill has surveyed all of Aberdeenshire's 71 recumbent stone circles, and he has discovered one of the sacred secrets used by the original builders. There is a mathematical relationship between the diameter of a circle and the length of its corresponding recumbent stone. The length of Easter Aquhorthies recumbent stone is 1/5 of the length of the circle's diameter.
Our first rope experiment is to take the length of the rope for the diameter of the circle, and we're going to fold it 3 times in order to demonstrate the average distance between the circle stones. So we are now going to take the length of rope for the diameter of the circle and fold it 5 times in order to show the relationship between the diameter of the circle and the length of the recumbent stone.
The circle stones at Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone Circle have all been specifically positioned to capture astronomical alignments associated with the movements of the Sun and Moon. In this image we can see four of the most important stones at Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone Circle. Stones number 4, 5, 10 and 11. If these four stones are connected by an imaginary rectangle, then they create what Dr. Hill refers to as station stone rectangles. These rectangles are vital to understanding the astronomy associated with these stone circles. Let us look at some of the astronomy connected with just these four stones at Easter Aquhorthies.
Well, we've looked at some of the geometry at Easter Aquhorthies. It's now time to look at some of the astronomy at Easter Aquhorthies. And I'm standing at one of the most important astronomical stones at the Stone Circle. It is, in fact, stone number 4. I'm still standing at stone number 4, but this time I'm looking directly across the recumbent between the two flankers. And this azimuth is 270 degrees azimuth, which just happens to align with the equinox sunsets in 21st of March and 21st of September. But also the stone aligns with the Corrie Cairn Recumbent Stone Circle. Perhaps at the times of sowing and harvesting of the crops, the people from Easter Aquhorthies would travel westward to help the people at Corrie Cairn with their crops. Now, if we stand by stone number 4 and look towards the direction of stone number 5, I'm looking in the direction of 40 degrees to 41 degrees azimuth, which matches the summer solstice sunrise. But I am also looking in the direction of the Achy Bray Recumbent Stone Circle. Maybe perhaps there was a market day on the day of the summer solstice at Achy Bray, so that the people from Easter Aquhorthies would know which direction to travel in to trade and exchange on the day of the summer solstice back in 2500 BC. I'm still standing at stone number 4, but this time I'm looking in the direction of stone number 10, which is at an azimuth of 320 degrees. This represents the position of the sunset at the summer solstice.
The Moon. Observations of the movements of the Moon is quite complicated, but it was not impossible for the Neolithic builders. The station stone's rectangle enabled the builders to watch the changing position of the Moon as it swung from one extreme to the other during its 18.6 year cycle orbiting the Earth. In this image we can see how this works at the stone circle. Standing behind stone number 4 and looking towards stone number 12, we would see the midwinter moon set at minimum setting. 9.3 years later, it would set at its maximum setting behind stone number 9. Then 9.3 years later, the moon would return to set behind stone number 12 again.
So I'm now standing by stone number 4 again, but this time I'm looking in the direction towards stone number 12, which is at an azimuth of 307 degrees. Now the important thing is, every 18.6 years I will see the winter moon setting behind stone number 12 and behind Benaki. But I have to come here every 18.6 years to see that astronomical alignment. What I want you to look at in this clip is the shape of stone number 12, the northern edge. Can you see how the stone has been specially shaped to match the shape of Benaki in the foreground?
Far from being randomly selected, the orthostats that make up a recumbent stone circle were also specifically chosen for their shapes. and these specific shapes were meant to stand in certain positions in their respective circles. No doubt certain shapes must have held symbolic meaning to the eyes of the beholder. Here is an example at Easter Aquhorthies.
All the circle stones at Easter Aquhorthies have been specially chosen for the shapes, and here is a common shape, it's stone number 9, and I call it a zigzag shape, and this shape of stone can be compared with a number of other similar shaped stones at many other recumbent stone circles.
We can compare the zigzag stone number 9 at Easter Aquhorthies with other zigzag shaped stones at Tomnavery, Stricken House, Loanhead of Daviot and Sunhoney.
We hope you have enjoyed watching our short video, and of course if you want to find out any more information about the sacred geometry of the Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone Circle, then do find my book. Thank you very much. In this short video we are going to explore and demonstrate the sacred geometry behind the Loanhead of Daviot Recumbent Stone Circle.
Situated in the Aberdeenshire landscape of North East Scotland is the Loanhead of Daviot Recumbent Stone Circle. It is located approximately 3.8 kilometres north of the River Uri, about 8 kilometres east of the town of Inverurie. This is a restored circle and it retains its full complement of 2 flankers, recumbent and 8 circle stones. Like all other recumbent stone circles, this circle dates to around 2500 BC.
Before we start our rope experiments here, I would strongly recommend that you view our previous video taken at the Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone Circle. More so because I strongly believe that the specialist builder who designed Easter Aquhorthies also designed Loanhead of Daviot Recumbent Stone Circle. Let us look at some of the facts.
Here are some interesting facts comparing the dimensions between the Easter Aquhorthies Stone Circle and the Loanhead of Daviot Stone Circle. The diameter of Loanhead of Daviot is 67.5 feet. The diameter of the Easter Aquhorthies Circle is 65.625 feet. The difference between the two is 22.5 inches. The length of Easter Aquhorthies Recumbent Stone is 13.125 feet. The length of Loanhead of Daviot's Recumbent Stone is 11.25 feet. The difference between the two is 22.5 inches.
And here we can see an example of that 22.5 inch unit of measurement at stone number 8. Of course the people in the Neolithic did not use imperial measurements nor metric measurements. They were probably more familiar with using body parts. For instance, the width of this stone is the length of my arm, otherwise known as an L.
Dr. Hill has surveyed all of the Aberdeenshire's 71 recumbent stone circles, and he has discovered one of the sacred secrets used by the original builders. There is a mathematical relationship between the diameter of a circle and the length of its corresponding recumbent stone. The length of Loanhead of Daviot recumbent stone is 1/6 of the length of the circle's diameter.
Our next rope experiment is to demonstrate the mathematical relationship between the diameter of the circle and the length of the recumbent stone. We're going to lay out the length of rope across the diameter of the circle, then we're going to fold that rope 6 times in order to show the length of the recumbent stone. So what we're going to do now is take the length of rope for the diameter of the circle and fold it 6 times in order to show the proportional relationship with the length of the recumbent stone. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6.
There is a mathematical ratio between the diameter of the circle and the average spacing between the circle stones. The ratio at Loanhead is a 3 1/4, which gives an average length of 20.76 feet. And here we can see Dr. Hull demonstrating that measurement at the stone circle. The circle stones at Loanhead of Daviot Recumbent Stone Circle have all been specifically positioned to capture astronomical alignments associated with the movements of the Sun and Moon. In this image we can see 4 of the most important stones at Loanhead of Daviot, stones number 4, 5, 10 and 9. If these 4 stones are connected by an imaginary rectangle, then they create what Dr. Hull refers to as a station stones rectangle. These rectangles are vital to understanding the astronomy associated with these stone circles. Let us look at some of the astronomy connected with just these 4 stones at Loanhead of Daviot.
I'm now standing at one of the most important astronomical stones at Loanhead of Daviot. It is in fact stone number 4. And if I stand at stone number 4 and look towards the direction of stone number 5, I am looking at an azimuth of 40 to 41 degrees azimuth, which matches the position of summer solstice sunrise. Now if I look in the direction from stone number 5 to stone number 4, I'm looking in an azimuth of 221 to 222 degrees, which matches the position of the winter solstice sunset.
As well as these rectangles aligning towards the movement of the Sun and Moon, they also point towards other recumbent stone circles across the landscape.
I'm still standing at stone number 4, but this time I'm looking across the recumbent between the 2 flankers, which matches an azimuth of 270 degrees. Which represents the position of the sunset at the times of the equinoxes in March and in September. Perhaps also this alignment here points towards Dunadir Recumbent Stone Circle. So maybe the people at Loanhead of Daviot would travel westwards in spring and in autumn to help the people at Dunadir with the harvesting and sowing of the crops. I'm still standing at stone number 4, but this time I'm looking in the direction towards stone number 9, which is at an azimuth of 320 degrees, which matches the position of the setting sun at summer solstice sunset, but it also points in the direction of yonder bogny Recumbent Stone Circle. Perhaps there was a market day on the day of the summer solstice, and the people at Loanhead of Daviot would know what day and what direction to travel towards yonder bogny in order to trade and exchange their goods.
Far from being randomly selected, the orthostats that make up an recumbent stone circle were also specifically chosen for their shapes, and these specific shapes were meant to stand in certain positions in their respective circles. No doubt certain shapes must have held symbolic meaning to the eyes of the beholder. Here is an example at Loanhead of Daviot.
I now want to move on to talk about the shapes of the stones. I do believe that the shapes of the stones at these Recumbent Stone Circles were specially selected for their symbolic meanings. In our previous video at Easter Aquhorthies, I spoke about the zigzag shaped stones, but today at Loanhead of Daviot I want to talk about squat stones.
We can compare this shape with the similar squat stones at Tomnaveri and the Nine Stains Stone Circles.
Originally I thought that this stone had been broken sometime in the past, but then I began to discover other squat stones at other Recumbent Stone Circles. Now, another important feature about this squat stone is that it is aligned on the cardinal points. And if I place this stone, it points in the direction of true north. Possibly this stone was used as a kind of marking or sighting stone involved with setting out the geometry of the circle. But also it may have held ritual symbolism, for which I shall now talk about. Of course, we can't expect the people of the Neolithic to be astronomers or mathematicians. So in this next unusual archaeological experiment, I'm going to try and explain the symbolism behind the orientations of the stones, and I shall use stone number 9 for my experiment. I'm going to start with the direction of north, which represents the element of earth. And to help me, I'm going to place a carved stone ball, which originates from Orkney Isles, into the north, and symbols of the home: stone axe, cattle ankle bone, and sheep bone. So north and the element of earth represents the home, the domestic use of the landscape. Our next direction is east, which is represented by the element of air. And to help me explain the element of air, I will use flint arrowheads to represent flight and direction. But also, very interestingly, I shall place my flint tools in the direction of east, which represents the east coast of Aberdeenshire, the source of flint for all of Aberdeen. Our next direction is south, which is represented by the element of fire, which is signified by flint and iron, the source of combustion during the Neolithic. Our final direction is the direction of west, which is representative of the element of water. And to signify the symbolism of the west, I've chosen a Neolithic flint knife and a Stone Age battle axe to represent the spirit of the warrior. So So the purpose of this experiment was to try to explain the symbolism attached with time and direction across the landscape, using objects that would be most familiar to the Neolithic people at that time.
We hope that you have enjoyed this video as well as our previous film at Easter Aquhorthies Stone Circle. Definitely we plan to produce in the future more films showing the sacred geometry at the Aberdeenshire Recumbent Stone Circles.